It's Cameron Wyatt. I work at the D51 Career Center in Grand Junction, Colorado. It's part of Mesa County's public educational system.
Hi, I'm Burry Bessie. I'm the pastor of the Burlington and Stratton United Methodist Churches in Kit Carson County, Colorado.
Holly Van Rosendahl, Director of Employment and Training. I work for Hilltop Community Resources, and I'm stationed at the Mesa County Workforce Center.
My name is Dee Dee. I am an LPN. I work at the Grand Junction VA. I work in an intensive case management program for the mentally ill. I also teach at AHEC, the CNA classes.
Wow, Mason, it's nice to meet you.
So my name is Courtney Ida. I currently am in Georgia. I am a registered nurse. I'm going on about 3 years now. I've been in the ICU for all 3 years.
We're sort of questioning a little bit right now where we're at, our importance. That is really causing a disconnect, a real social disconnect. And I find it very ironic because up to this point in time, a lot of people say, put down that cell phone, get away from the computer. And yet the irony is now that is what's being put to the forefront as how to stay in touch. And it's all over mass media. I mean, you turn on the TV and it's always like, this is how we stay connected. We have all the movie stars doing their thing and painting their faces. And we have people going out on their balconies at 7 o'clock at night and beating their pans and singing. And we have people writing on sidewalks, first responders. We have little kids running around the community, painting rocks, saying, happiness is a choice. And we have all of that, but I don't think it resonates in the internal aspect of the soul.
For me, I think the toughest part about this is that spring break week, I was supposed to have my youngest grandchildren and they didn't get to come. And even though I talk to them almost every day on FaceTime, it's the hugs and virtual hugs don't quite do it for me. And I'm getting to the end of my rope about that. And actually they're coming down tomorrow and I get to hug them again. But it's been tough. Today's a second birthday for the grandson in Boston. And they called this morning and showed him opening his presents from us and stuff. And of course he looked at it, said clothes, yeah. Books, yeah. Oh, look, this has buttons on it. Let's do that and try all the noise. But it's just not the same as being there.
You know, it's interesting. My two younger kids are 10 and 11, and they have handled it better than my 18-year-old and my 43-year-old. When I said we made the decision, no friends, they were like, well, okay. I printed out chore charts, and that included schoolwork, dishes, dinner, whatever they needed to do. Mm-hmm. And they stepped up and they did awesome. My oldest son, who is 18, almost 19, had a really hard time. I had to finally put my foot down and say, I will take the car away. You can go to work and come home. There's no more going out and messing around and into the store every 5 minutes. And I mean, honestly, the grocery stores and Walmart are open. And that's where he's going, though, just to get out and do something. And I get it, but find something else here at home. My husband, it was really hard. He is very close to his family. And so it was really hard for him to stay home for a few weeks. He finally kind of gave up and started going to his parents' house.
And I think it's been pretty difficult on the kids because that face-to-face interaction created a bond. Now they're at home, perhaps maybe in an environment that's not as healthy as what school was for them. And now there's a social emotional deficit, if you will. The concern comes from my lens is that I don't think the young kids or our students, I don't think they know what to ask for. They feel empty. They feel alone. But yet there's all this technology. I can't be alone. I'm right here. Um, it's part of their regular world, but there's this sense of hollowness, of disconnect.
And I know it's hard, there's two boys that live next door that he loves to play with, and they talk through the gaps in the fence, and it's just, he doesn't understand sometimes why they can't play together or why we can't go to the park. And I don't know that he knows what a virus is, but he just knows that's why we can't do it.
I'm up for Tri-State and a Triple Crown. Now I don't think I might not get it now because of the virus.
If you could, what would you do to that virus?
Try to put it in a cup and lock it up and then throw it into the river.
Unfortunately, I don't get to see my patients every day like I was. I still go into the homes, but I've spread it out every 4 weeks instead of every 1 to 2 weeks. And I talk to them on the phone as opposed to seeing them face to face. I think this has impacted them more than it has me. They miss the interaction. They don't get a lot of interaction. So they call quite frequently, when do we get back to business and go into groups and grocery shopping, meetings, whatever.
Because I was ill right at the get-go, I've been doing all my work from home, and here and there after hours or on weekends, pop into the office real quick to pick up things I need, or if I really have to do something there, do it, but not being around anyone. And that experience has been incredibly isolating, more so than I've ever experienced in my life before. And I'm an individual that does pretty darn well independently, and I'm okay with that. But yeah, it's been really, really interesting, kind of going through that and experiencing this barrage of emergencies and urgencies and priorities that all feel just as important as each other, and how to navigate what to hit and how quickly to hit those and get them done. And there's just like this new sense of, or this new feeling of kind of mental and emotional fatigue that I haven't ever felt before. And how to kind of find ways to take care of that, because it's a new sense of burnout.
Lay the foundation earlier to not have so much anxiety and stress and change to my personal life that has happened. Because I'll just share, I sleep about 4 hours a day. When they hear the personal stories and somebody says, I don't sleep because I'm so entrenched and engaged trying to facilitate things that perhaps are out of our control, it touches the inner soul, right? So we're not talking something we read in a book. We're not talking something that we modeling. It's something that's innate to our human soul. And that's that hollowness I talked about earlier. It is human nature to be wanted, to give, to protect, to be part of something greater than yourself. And when you can't strive for that and get that feeling that you're a part of it, then you're not.
We recently put my grandmother in a nursing home right before all this happened. She's got some dementia, which goes along with her Parkinson's. So she is very confused and having a hard time dealing with that we aren't visiting. She feels that we've just dropped her off and abandoned her. So that's been hard. Every day I talk to her and say, no, Grandma, it's this virus. And if I just have the sniffles, it's okay. I know, like at my grandma's facility there for a while, they were feeding everybody in their room. Nobody was coming out to the dining room. And I can't imagine how these residents feel already losing their home, not being able to see their family. And now they're definitely isolated in their room, having to eat in there. My dad is medically compromised. He's got pulmonary fibrosis, so we have steered clear of him and pretty close to my parents, so haven't seen them in over a month. So that's really hard.
The memorial service I did last week, graveside, that one affected me a lot because I was seeing her every week up until COVID. And she helped me make sense of some of the ins and outs of the congregation because she'd been a member here for 60 years. And she just kept my head on straight. And so we were able to stand outside her room and sing to her last Sunday, and she died Monday morning. And one of the things I said to her was, thank you. And before you leave, you have to assign somebody new to keep me on the straight and narrow.
Emotionally, I think that's been like the biggest hit, is where like now we have patients dying alone, or if they're not doing well, we will FaceTime the family, but if they're already intubated, already sedated, they can see them, but they can't say much. So that's been hard, especially in those instincts. Like, you never want to see anyone die alone. So
Right.
as a nurse, I mean, when it's my patient, I like take a little more time. I'll like just sit there with them and I'll hold their hand and stuff like that. Just so like, whether they're sedated or not, I mean, I would just hope in the end somebody would do that for me if this was my situation.